You know that's not just blood coming out your ears, right? That's fluid leaking from your brain. That's surgery right there, regardless.
Fuck, man. I can't feel my fucking face anymore.
Imagine what I'll do to you when I drag you out of this car.
Who the hell are you, man?
Who am I? It's a good question.
Don't kill me, all right? I'll tell you all you want to know.
I want to know who they are. I want their fucking names.
Okay, look. There's two of them. I don't know their names. But these guys, they're fucking crazy.
What do you mean?
I mean, there's some dark shit going on in this town. There's talks about these guys that they're different from us.
Different how?
That they're not even human. Jeez, come on, man. I'm telling you straight, man. These guys are evil, like animals.
I don't believe in monsters!
Jesus fucking Christ.
Tell me I'm beautiful.
Oh, I don't know if I want to do that.
Tell me I'm beautiful while my boyfriend's in the car watching me fuck you. Tell me I'm beautiful as I
Why do you
fuck
have, like,
you
plaster on your eyebrows?
with my plaster brows and my heavy makeup and my tits.
You have tits?
Tits and a dick. You paid me. Wait.
I paid you in creamed corn, all right?
You paid me, so it's only fair that you tell me that I'm beautiful and not see my tits.
Are we gonna fuck on the hood of this car or what?
Hey guys, that's a scene from a movie. But before we get into that movie, you need to know that we are the Old Boys Podcast.
Oh shit.
And that is Jared. And I am Dan, as long as you tell me I'm beautiful.
AKA Sleepy Jared. That's what I'm going for today.
Sleepy Jared, yay!
Yeah, it's my new cool name.
Sleepy J and Beautiful D.
Yes, Sleepy J and Beautiful D. Holy shit. What is it? The Zoo News in the morning or whatever it's called? I don't know. The
Zaboomafoo
Whoa.
News.
Sleepy J. Beautiful D in the morning.
And beautiful is too many syllables. Just big D, that's all we need.
Big D
Make it a sexual
is
innuendo.
inappropriate. Daniel, please.
Yes, Jared. Okay, so we are a movie podcast in which we talk very, very, very
We do talk
conservatively about films because this is a family show. You're right. Very, very respectfully, very conservatively. Now, you were asking me a question about the dear belated Corbin Nash.
Yes.
I feel like that's not how you say it. What was your question about Corbin Nash?
My question was, is he part of a larger cinematic universe that I need to be aware of?
And my answer was, I sincerely hope not.
Because if anything really needs a good ribbing, it's Corbin Nash.
Oh my god. You know what was so fucking funny? As I was watching this, I'm like, oh my god, we need to redo this for Movies for Sensei. Because this is a Movies for Sensei movie.
Absolutely, it is a Movies for Sensei.
Like, it has the guise of okay because of the camera they use, but it literally is the same type of movie that we do for Movies for Sensei. Just a shit show.
We might as well get into it.
Oh my god.
This is Corbin Nash.
I would have had more fun with this if we did it specifically for Movies for Sensei.
His movie came out this year.
Oh, it's so bad.
It's on Netflix.
I'm sorry.
And we watched it.
I'm sorry that I'm getting into it just negatively already. But
Dan loves to get into it.
Oh my god.
Dan, could you explain the plot of Corbin Nash, please?
First of all, Malcolm McDowell is the devil.
Okay. Is he though?
Yeah, that's what they were implying the entire time. And in case you didn't get at the end, they made sure you got it towards the end. Anyway, whatever. Corbin Nash is this dude who is like a cop who turns into a vampire because he's abducted by vampires and like vampires have taken over. Okay, it's implied that vampires are worse than Satan, and they have taken over. The armies that Satan could conjure up are no match for these vampires, and the vampires mock Satan at one point. But Corbin is this guy who is like part of this elite group of hunters, or he came from a line of hunters, and Rutger Hauer tells him this for no
randomly.
Reason. And Corbin is trying to find a balance between being a badass vigilante and being a good cop with his Todd Glass lookalike dude.
Todd Glass lookalike. Holy shit. Okay, that's a pretty decent summary.
It goes between Todd Glass figuring out that Corbin is a vigilante and Corbin being a vigilante. That's basically it. And then there's this gay vampire couple that just, I don't know. Would you argue makes the entire movie, or would you argue makes you want to shoot yourself in the face?
Okay, so it is to the benefit of the film, but it's who they cast. It's who they cast in the roles.
Okay, hold on.
Is what causes the real issue.
1 second. See, this is why I'm happy I didn't take notes, because I already fucking know. I know everything. I didn't take notes, and I only half watched this movie. I'm like, this is fucking garbage, and I was doing other things while I was watching it, and like I still have so much shit to talk about. And every single part of the movie that I absolutely just could not stand, because I'm like, this could be so good.
Was it Corey Feldman?
But it's not. I don't know. Like, every scene that has to do with these vampire people are great. And I don't think it's the casting. I think it's just, like, the execution of these scenes. It's like, I see where it could have been awesome and strange and weird, but it just ended up being, let's look at naked ladies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Man, this movie. Okay, so before I talk about it, I do want to briefly mention I watched Bohemian Rhapsody, because I remembered I was going to talk about that.
Can anybody
So I saw that in
find me? Oh, that was bad.
Guess what, Dan?
What?
If you like Queen,
Yeah.
you'll probably like Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, well, I probably could have figured that out. And if I don't like Queen?
Oh, you might not like Bohemian Rhapsody. What's funny, though, is I saw it in theaters, right? We're watching this. And I think it's safe to say that the lead singer of Queen is a homosexual.
Yeah, I think
Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah. I mean,
that everyone probably figured out.
Okay,
right?
So ready? Wears a white wife beater, cuts his hair short, has a nice little caterpillar mustache. He looks like a 70s porn star, also died of AIDS. That's like a recipe for destruction right there. You know what I mean? Hey-o!
Yes, so, destruction? Is that a reference I don't get?
It was about to be a reference until I realized that the album I was referencing is called Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses, and I just shit all over my own joke. You know what? I'll leave that in. Actually, you're editing. You can
deprecation. So there's some gay stuff in this movie.
As in
even
sex?
Though it's PG-13, there's some man kissing. He goes. So
is
what
there
I'm referring
man
to is
blowjobbing like there is in this movie?
It could have been way more graphic. I'm surprised it wasn't, but they wanted to make it PG-13.
Is it really a PG-13 movie?
Yes,
because typically biopics are rated R, like, you know.
Yeah, and I know it's kind of weird, but it made it more of a celebration of Queen and less of the story about Queen. You know what I mean?
That's stupid.
It is kind of.
Queen still needs to be celebrated? Question mark.
How I thought of it is, if you really want to learn more after watching the movie, just go watch an actual documentary.
Or go read something.
Yeah, well, reading. What?
Oh my God.
We like look at words and have to pretend shit?
There were these coworkers of mine that were on lunch, and they were like, "Oh, I was watching this movie over the weekend, and this happened, and I didn't even know. That was that." And I'm like, "Did you read anything about Freddie Mercury after you fell in love with him? I don't quite understand." It's like, maybe that's what it is. Maybe Freddie Mercury is just such an enigma because nobody wants to read about him, even though he was like, his fucking voice was...
I'll be honest, I didn't know shit about Freddie Mercury other than that he was gay, and I figured that out myself by listening to his music.
Because there's no
And then when I
way.
saw him, I was like,
there's no way that
absolutely.
anybody with that kind of voice can be anything but gay, is what you're saying, right?
His band is called Queen.
But he sings about fat bottom girls.
He's fucking awesome. But I was able to figure it out.
He's like fat bottom
I
girls.
love Queen. He's amazing. What's that?
Fat bottom girls.
Oh yeah.
Was the original cut boys?
Usually it's me who's interrupting you.
Oh, but I'm in a feisty mood.
I know. You keep grabbing your nips. It's making me very uncomfortable. I think it was a pretty good movie, even for PG-13. Those type of films still need to exist because it hits a larger audience. Oh, I remember the point I was going to make. So there's a scene where
Queen superstar
Freddie Mercury. Yes, he is now descending into drugs and random sex with men, even though he's technically married to a woman. Yeah. Spoiler alert, guys. I'm sorry. Spoiler alert. Oh, I'm ruining the movie for everyone. And he's going into this gay nightclub, and there's like bondage and crazy stuff going on. And there were like audible gasps in the audience. People going, "Oh!" It's so funny. Oh man, it made me laugh. Oh, the movie's very funny too. There's a lot of good comedic moments in the film.
How was the acting?
It was great. It was really everything was fucking
because
really
that's
good.
whenever it really boils down to biopics, that's what you go for. You're like, how is this person going to interpret this other human being who existed?
Yes. The guy who plays Freddie Mercury, I forget his name, but he played on Mr. Robot. He's so good.
Well, Freddie Mercury is two things. He is very gay, and he is also, to be fair,
Awesome.
Not awesome. I would argue that his voice ranks among like the is probably the 8th wonder of the world. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because there's not a man alive that sounds like him or ever has sounded like him. That's true. He was never pitchy. He had a very unique voice. It wasn't like angelic, but it was like, oh my God, dude, you can just sing perfectly every single time you open your mouth, which is just incredible.
He's a pretty interesting guy. And they try to make him sympathetic, but he does some shit that's like, that makes me think if you watch a real documentary, you're like, okay, this guy was up to some shit.
Like what?
Just like lots of drugs and lots of cheating on your wife with dudes.
Oh,
but they
that's
still
right.
tried
I
to paint
forgot.
him
Yeah.
in a positive light.
Well, I mean, he was gay.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times we can make that point. And if you're gay and you marry somebody who's not gay, typically you're going to find outlets for your gayness.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting used to saying the word gay because I watched something recently this morning that made me change my perspective on a couple things, namely the word gay. But if you haven't seen Joe Rogan's new special, you should go watch it. It's on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
It's the one that came out this year.
How you a straight man taught you the word gay.
Oh my God. But he did it in such a good way. Like, I still don't agree with everything he says, but his whole gay spiel was pretty funny.
I like him. He's really funny.
He is funny.
I listened to Brian Posehn.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I saw him live, and he closed with a bit about how words are used and words in context, how they can change, and taking control and ownership of a word, and to emphasize that he used that these words. I don't normally use it, but just for the bit, the words faggot and retard.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, like, hey, I used to get called that all the time. And I feel like everyone as a kid did at some point. You were called these things.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about his experiences with it. And then he started to equate retards to Republicans and faggots to Democrats. And then he used those words in place of Republican and Democrat.
That's beautiful.
To describe like his family and other people he knows. And it was really, really funny.
Where can I find that? Because I really want to watch that.
I saw it live, so I don't know if he's recorded it.
See, like, a lot of different comedians have bits about, like, what words you can't use anymore. And, like, I do like to... I'm trying...
It's context.
It is context, but I like to watch other people's perception about said contexts. You know what I mean? Because other people argue things differently. And, like, Tom Segura argues it differently. His wife argues it differently. There was one other one. I was watching argued it differently, but it's a big thing now. They talk about words and context and what we can and can't use, because it is something that like it's a weird social phenomenon that we just kind of parted ways with. So I don't know. I'd like to see
I think it's interesting that like certain things people say and they get offended or they're upset, and then other things we just let it slide, and like to someone else this could be the most offensive thing you could ever possibly imagine. It's weird.
Well, yeah, then if you haven't seen it, it's called Strange Times, I think is what his new one is.
I like Joe Rogan. He's funny guy.
I was pretty upset whenever it was over. Too. Yeah, I started listening to that recently too, so that's fun.
I just listen to ones that sound interesting.
Yeah, he gets like insane guests, like because he's been doing it forever. He just gets like the best people, like people who you would never associate with the comedy world. He just like it's like I'm gonna talk to you. It's what the fuck.
Oh, speaking of, now we're just promoting Joe Rogan's podcast because he needs the help. Guys, no one's listening to his podcast, so we're really just trying to help him out. He had Roseanne on there, and he was trying to defend her. Speaking of censored, like saying shit you're not supposed to or whatever. And he was really trying to defend her, and all Roseanne had to do was just shut the fuck up and let Joe Rogan defend her, because he's very good at it, and he was actually making a good. I was like believing him. I was like, yeah, you're right. You're right.
But she
Roseanne
couldn't keep her mouth shut, and she made it worse.
She kept saying the shit she was saying made her sound so guilty and terrible, and I'm just like, just take the shovel away from her, Joe. It was so bad. It's kind of fun. It's like watching a really slow car wreck.
Wow. That's crazy.
It's hard to listen to, especially from her point of view, because they're just like, you sound
I may have to
full of shit.
But now,
anyways, there's a movie, right?
Is it a movie?
I don't know. We have a film. Dan has already kind of explained it. It's about vampires. Corbin Nash.
Is it really about vampires though? So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna because Jared actually took notes, and what we're gonna use those notes as are just talking points, because I was so despite the fact of only half watching this, I guarantee you that everything that you've written down I know, and I will be able to yell at. I was so angry. Like, this is one of it's been a while since I got angry at a movie that we assigned, and I was rooting for this movie. Like, I wanted to watch it.
That's the bad. So this movie's one of those. So bad, it's almost good. Like, it's so close to being good.
I suppose.
Because of how incompetent everything is.
Let's take that and let's break that analysis down. So let's analyze that analysis. So, here's the new theme. Analyze that analysis. Boom, boom.
Dan is a dick.
No. So, like, that's a really good point you made, where it's like some films, without being intentionally bad, like Sharknado, where they're trying to make a bad movie.
Yes.
So some films that are trying to be good and are so bad that they unintentionally get good because of how bad they are, if they do not cross that threshold, those are some of the worst movies I've ever seen. Yeah.
It's painful. And movies can be terrible, but still very enjoyable. Same with games, same with anything in media, really. Dragon's Dogma, the video game, arguably has a lot of problems that they've tried to fix. I adore that game. It's one of my favorite games of all time. But for a lot of people, that game's hard to play. You could even say that with the new Red Dead Redemption. Like, people are very frustrated with the pacing and some of the limited restrictions of that game.
Well, I said that with the fucking Witcher.
I fucking love it.
I mean, I really wanted to like The Witcher so bad, but then you get open world and there's just so fucking much to do.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, like, you can be level 4 and wander into level 25 territory without even knowing what's happening.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
I gave up on The Witcher the first time I bought it when it first came out, and then almost 2 or 3 years later, when they patched everything, I came back, I played it all the way through, and I had the most fun. It was one of the best games I'd ever played. It was so much fun. The combat was even better. I don't know how they fixed everything. I mean, the game was still glitchy as fuck.
Well, I mean,
It was still glitchy.
speaking of
but I was
The Witcher,
having so much
and
fun.
speaking of not wanting to talk about fucking Corbin Nash.
This is talking about Corbin Nash, by the way.
Yeah. So, speaking of the fucking Soul Calibur game, oh my god, I traded that in immediately. I was so
why?
pissed off because of the whole system where, like, whenever you get into non-ranked matches in a lobby, you can't spectate. So you just sit there forever until it's your turn. Unlike,
you can't even do training mode?
no. Unlike DOA, where you can actually spectate shit, which is what I'm looking forward to. I can't fucking wait for DOA 6. But, like, fighting games, the whole point is to watch the goddamn fights. And it wouldn't let you do it. I was so
That's
angry.
amazingly bad.
That's so,
Wow.
so bad. If somebody, whoever's listening, figured out a way to do it, don't email me, because I don't give a fuck.
That sucks, dude. Okay, anyways, all right, back to this fucking movie. I guess we gotta talk about it, kind of.
Ugh.
So Corbin Nash is a bad Blade ripoff. Is that a safe assessment?
Yes! That is a great
Like
assessment.
a terrible Blade ripoff.
Number one, the character is not black. Number two,
That's the first problem.
Yeah. Number two, casting. Ugh.
Oh, yeah.
Number three, there was one
Diarrhea.
other thing. No, not diarrhea. I've honestly, I've had diarrhea more interesting than this.
Number three is diarrhea, right?
No. Number three is... fuck. We'll get to number three soon. Oh, you're saying, like...
This fucking movie has Rutger Hauer, Bruce Davison, and Malcolm McDowell, and they don't do shit in this movie.
Hold on a
They're like,
second.
This movie might as well be called Old White Guys Stand Around and Do Nothing movie. Like, that's what this film is.
So, I was okay with Malcolm McDowell, because at least he had a speaking part, right? And he was throughout the entire thing, and we touched base with him throughout the entire thing. As soon as I saw Rutger Hauer, I couldn't even recognize him. I'm like, wait, is that Rutger Hauer?
Yeah.
And I finally
Seriously.
realized that it was. I'm like, holy shit! This is awesome! And I was really happy. And then he introduces the backstory, and then just has a drink at the bar for the rest of the fucking movie.
My parents are dead.
You know anything about them?
My mother was Irish, my father played ball.
He won the World Series, kid.
Yeah, he did.
The thing was that being a baseball player was just a cover.
Cover for what?
The battle with demons and destiny.
Demons, huh? Okay.
The never-ending fight between good and evil. Your parents came from a long line of hunters. You're one of them.
Some days we record and the time flies and we're trying to have ideas to put in that we don't want it to go away, and we end up cutting ourselves short. But then other days it's 26 minutes long and it feels like we've been talking about nothing.
So we've talked about some films I watched in the theaters, some stand-up we've seen, and then we talked about video games for a long time,
Yeah.
even though this is a movie
And-
podcast.
Let's call it a new media podcast. That way we can encapsulate everything.
This is a mixed media
It's a mixed martial arts media podcast.
Yes. God damn this film. So you got Rutger Hauer as the Stranger, is what he's called. He has one scene in the movie. We never see him again after that. It's pretty pointless. They probably paid him $10,000. He's like, cool. I'm gonna
Wow.
go buy a diamond cheeseburger at Diamond McDonald's. Then we got Bruce Davison, who I guess is Corbin Nash's boss dad.
Boss Dad.
There's one fucking scene with him in it. You never see him again. He looks really similar to Rutger Hauer, and it's confusing.
Oh, that guy. Okay, yeah.
Then you got fucking
Malcolm
McDowell, who is just, you need to just stop. Malcolm, just stop. Okay? I'm tired of you. You keep making these fucking terrible films, and you're letting people use you, and you're above everything that you do. Like, these oh my God. I'm looking at his acting credits. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 new films coming out soon.
Malcolm
this
McDowell needs to be under a binding contract from Hollywood. Like, he is going to be blacklisted unless every role he takes, he must be wearing a Droog mask out of context.
He's not going to be blacklisted.
I'm saying we should blacklist him unless he does this.
So you got that. You got the one lady in the film, Macy, who she's doing her best. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Sometimes I think she's okay. Other times I don't know. And then you got, what's his face? Dean S. Jagger. I've never heard of that guy either. It's Corbin Nash. He's okay? Is he like a fighter in real life, maybe?
I would assume he has some kind of training, but I wouldn't know for sure, you know what I mean?
He was in Game of Thrones, apparently.
Well, here is, we do need to touch on Rutger Hauer, because he's in the movie, he says something, and we're going to play a clip from Rutger Hauer right here. Ready? I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I watched sea beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser Gate. Fuck.
The Tannhauser Gate?
All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in the rain.
Oh, yeah, that was a great scene from the movie Corbin Nash. What a great Corbin Nash scene that was. Oh, really, really good. I thought you were actually going to play a clip that I was going to have to edit in.
Impersonation of Rutger Hauer. Who did that?
You fucking dipshit. All right, okay, let's get into the film. Why not? You know what? It's like, why even shit on this movie? Everyone knows it's bad. It's a waste of time, so we might as well just fucking talk about it.
Okay, fine.
Here, I'm going to start reading some of my notes here, and we'll see what we touch on. Lady mumbles about darkness.
Is this the waitress?
I think so.
The one, okay, so basically Corbin Nash gets, first and foremost, if you need to correct the timeline to adjust your narrative over 3 times, your movie's garbage. Because that's exactly what this film did. It was infuriating. As soon as that's what turned me off. That's what made me check out. I'm like, fuck this. I don't have time.
Jumps between past and present so much that you don't know when things are happening anymore.
Because they stop labeling it, and it's like, well, why would you keep fucking doing that?
Yeah. And there's points where the villains are like, we're going to catch the hero. We're going to catch Corbin Nash. We just found out he's alive, and we're going to go stop him. And you're like, wait a minute, didn't you guys already catch him? Isn't he already in your blood prison fighting for you? It just felt like there's so many different things that don't connect with the rest of the film where you're like, what are we even doing here? You've already accomplished your goal.
So this film has 3 modes. And those modes are blood prison.
Yes.
Corbin finding things.
Yes. Investigation.
Corbin being chained to a stripper's room.
Well, you forgot the 4th thing, the nightclub.
Oh, how could I have forgotten? Where Macy goes outside of her room.
There's the blood cells, there's Macy's room, there's investigation, and nightclub. It's almost like a Call of Cthulhu game, really.
Yeah, and then the investigation, like, it always does take place in the same, like, 2 areas, which is Corbin's garage, where he has, like, the fucking strings attached from every fucking nook and cranny wherever in Los Angeles or wherever it is.
So stupid.
Or in the same back alley that's just filmed from a different angle to make it look.
A lot of the investigations are Corbin Nash's partner re-finding out what the audience and Corbin Nash already know. And it's not even like good information. It's like him basically retracing Corbin Nash's steps and it turning out to be a big waste of time because that guy never does anything in the film.
Yeah.
He doesn't even help him. He doesn't do anything, Dan! It's a fucking waste of time!
Want to put a disclaimer that our show is not, so continue to listen.
Oh, please, I beg you. I have child support. You know what's weird? Is they never say vampire in this movie. They always call them demons.
Yeah, but they're fucking vampires.
They're certainly vampires, and there's even dumb vampire lore. Okay, we really got to get into this film. All right, so Corbin Nash, He's got the words Nash in giant font tattooed on his chest.
Who
it's
fucking
the dumbest
does that?
fucking thing I've ever seen.
Who does that?
Nobody. And people who want to be known, I guess.
My name's
Even though
Nash.
he's supposed to be in hiding.
He's
So-
supposed to be in hiding. He wants to be known, but whenever Rutger Hauer delivers that speech about the tears in the rain, he's like, nah, man, that's not me. That's not me.
Not cool,
but
not
he has a
cool.
fucking
Yeah.
gigantic tattoo of his name as if it was him. What the
Yes.
fuck?
Well, okay, we'll get into that. He also has a tattoo of Shooter on his arm, and somebody calls him Shooter once during the
starring
film.
Mark Wahlberg?
Yes.
Oh.
What? No. Oh, Marky Mark. You're such a good actor. So, he actually is a good actor. Fuck you. That's me arguing with myself. So we have this weirdo, Corbin Nash,
That's a good descriptor.
who is a police officer. He's got these giant fucking tattoos on his chest. The only reason he has the words Nash on his chest is because at one point a bad guy will see that and then later on start saying his name while getting a blowjob in a nightclub, and this will spawn a series of events that go nowhere. That the movie thinks the plot is forwarding, but it's really a waste of time.
That was the aforementioned dude blowjob I was talking about during the Queen segment.
Oh yeah. Oh, Queenie.
Anyway,
I wish Freddie Mercury as the role of Queenie would have been way better anyways.
Queenie.
One of my main problems with this movie is that Corey Feldman's is in the film.
Is that the vampire's name?
Queenie, yes.
Oh my god.
I don't think they ever say his name.
They
but
don't.
it's-
They don't say anybody's name except for
That's
Corbin
his name.
Nash.
You can't help but see his name, so it's like they don't even need to say it. If they had an actual transvestite portray Queenie, and like get a real actor or actress or whatever, and just have a crossdresser do that, it would have been so much better, I think. Because a lot of my enjoyment, whenever I'm sorry, Corey Feldman. I'm sure you're a very nice person, but
Wait, who?
Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman?
Yes. Are you okay?
As in, not Feldman.
Feldman. Yes. I don't know.
That
I'm
was
saying
Corey Feldman?
Yes, it was.
What the fuck?
Not Corey Feldman.
What? Now I gotta go back and rewatch this movie.
Corey Feldman. Yes, it was him. How did you
No.
not know?
Because at one point I'm like, he does look familiar, but I wasn't even gonna, fucking try. Oh my god, he is.
He really hurt my enjoyment. That's what I'll say.
Oh man.
It was a displeasure to watch him on screen. Anyways, Corbin Nash, he's now at a bar. He's with his boss dad, who I guess is the chief of police, and they're having a drink, and Rutger Hauer stares at them. And then Rutger Hauer comes over and he's like, "You are the chosen one. Your dad is a vampire hunter. He was a professional baseball player and he won the World Series, but that was only a cover for his real job, fighting darkness and demons." And then fucking Corbin Nash is like, "I don't believe you." And he goes, "But it's true." He's like, "All right, I believe you now." And you're like, "Oh, okay." And then the fucking chief of police dad shows up and he's like, "You better listen to him. He's telling the truth." And then they give him a ring, and you think it's going to be like this magic ring or something that like helps him fight vampires.
But
I think it's just some kind of like Super Bowl ring or something.
it really looks
Or a
like
World
it.
Series ring. Do they get rings in the World Series?
I don't know.
I think that's what it was. And then other characters recognize the ring when he's wearing it. And I'm like, how would you associate the Nash family with this World Series ring?
I can't believe
Any baseball player who's won it has one.
because I'm going back and I'm running through this film. I'm like, I cannot believe that I didn't realize that was Corey Feldman.
You're foolish. You're a foolish man.
But then again, I was only half watching it because as soon as I saw him, I'm like, okay, I get it. But then I'm like, oh man,
This is definitely a film I could not stomach. There's certain scenes, especially when they're in the hotel and Corbin Nash is chained up and the girl is like praying and shit. I was like +10 fast forwarding through a lot of that. I was like, I don't fucking care at all about this.
except instead of fast forwarding, I was doing other things like walking around and doing laundry.
Doing laundry. Dan was doing laundry, fold all the clothes, and then throw them all on the ground and just fold them again because it was more fun than watching.
This film is a
Corbin Nash.
chore.
It is a chore. So then we begin this weird flash forward, flashback stuff of like Corbin Nash is in
A
an
year
alley.
ago, present day. 6 months ago, present day. 2 days ago, present day.
Do they even
The next
say?
day?
Because I don't ever remember seeing them tell
they,
you.
They did a
time
year
jumps.
ago, and they did 6 months ago, and then they did it a couple more times, but they didn't label it.
Let's talk about the two different timelines. There is the timeline where, present day, I guess, Corbin Nash is trapped in a room with this lady who has him chained up. It's obvious that he's been turned into a vampire. He went to go try to fight the forces of darkness, and he failed, I guess.
So my question is the blood dungeon in the past?
Yes.
Then where is Corey Feldman?
I don't know. It's really confusing. We don't know when the Corey Feldman vampire timeline and him being in the blood dungeon, I don't know where those correlate, because the entire time Queenie and her man or whatever, the other guy, I don't know his name, they're trying to hunt down the main character. He's already in the blood prison with the vampires. And sometimes vampires aren't vampires, they're just regular people.
Well, yeah.
And it's never explained why regular people are just working for the vampires. It's very
because
confusing.
they have been enthralled. Don't you know your vampire mythos?
Yeah, but they don't say shit about that in the movie.
Never mind, you're right. Because there's no way that the
Suspension of
people...
disbelief.
No, I was going to say, like, if you know vampire lore, then you know that vampires can enthrall people. But
They don't follow vampire lore.
They don't. So they have to make their own in order for it to make it sense.
Malcolm McDowell says that vampires can go out in the sun, and very clumsily he says, I think it's because the writing is really bad. I don't blame him. So, we have to play some of the clips of this movie because it is amazing. The lines of dialogue are so bad, and you just see Malcolm McDowell trying to give his best, and everyone else around him is just overacting.
Well, and then
it's really
the
amazing.
Malcolm McDowell voiceovers is where I got some of the lore, where it's like,
I fast forwarded through some of that. 'Cause I was
well,
bored.
apparently there's like a war between heaven and hell, and then like I forgot how it went. Like maybe God was just so upset that he just let vampires take over, and even Satan, because he would be in charge if God's not there. Satan's afraid of vampires, so he just keeps his mouth shut. That was the gist of
what's going
yeah,
on?
that's the gist of what I got. And Malcolm McDowell is Satan, so
Weird.
He acts like a blind dude.
Okay. I thought he was just also a vampire too, and because he was outside so much in the sun that he went blind. Because he was saying something about, like, if you're outside, you become blind like me or something. And I'm like, what does that mean? They're not blind. They seem fine. Anyways, let's talk about Queenie more, because it's interesting. It's more interesting than the rest of the
It's
film.
more interesting that I didn't even realize it was Corey Feldman. Again, I will admit that.
Corey Feldman kind of rapes a lady on the hood of her car.
Kind of? I don't know. I wouldn't say that's kind of. That's what I was referencing at the very beginning of this film, where he keeps saying, tell me I'm beautiful, tell me you love me.
Yes. So he finds a prostitute lady, and you don't know if he's putting people under a thrall. He has to, because he's the most hideous thing I've ever seen in my life. Everything about it's bad. And he hires this prostitute lady either through mind trickery, I don't know, but he starts having sex with her on the hood of his car. It's nighttime, but they are out in the open in a street, you know? A regular street. No cars, nobody's around. Then he fucking slits her throat and like drinks her blood or whatever, and there's blood everywhere. I'm like, how are you not caught yet? Like the stuff they do.
Wait. He bites her. And then blood finds on the windshield. And just in case you didn't realize that his lover was a vampire, his lover comes into the light of the windshield and goes,
oh yeah, it's so lame.
It's so dumb.
So lame. Everything about this movie is so bad. So the whole backstory with them, which they painstakingly tell you in a just terrible exposition to each other. Both of the villains tell their backstory to each other like they don't already know this. It's really crazy. That Queenie was left to die in an alley or something by her family, I don't know. And that I guess Vince is the other vampire, pretty boy or whatever. He finds Queenie and is so in love with her that he is like, I'm gonna turn you into a vampire and you're gonna be my lover forever. And I'm diminishing it But it is actually the most interesting thing in the entire movie. It was handled so poorly.
Well, then don't call it Corbin Nash. Call it The Adventures of Queenie.
Don't call it a comeback.
Don't call it
I've been
that.
here for years. Oh, man. Corbin Nash sucks so hard. And then we got the other side of it is Corbin Nash gets thrown into a blood prison. Oh, so okay. All right. So Corbin Nash is investigating, right?
Yes.
There's a
As
child
Corbin Nash
murderer. Yes, there's a serial rapist or something that he's on the case. So he's already been told by Rutger Hauer that he's a vampire hunter. He doesn't believe him. And literally, Rutger Hauer's like, your training begins now. And he just fucking leaves. Like, he doesn't help him or teach him anything. It's so funny. So then Corbin Nash is doing that dumb thing where you put pictures on the wall of a cork board and you attach lines to it and you go, what does it all mean? What does it all mean? You know, that thing no one does, only in movies. Mm-hmm. And then he's got he has a second board that has like demon stuff on it. And I thought somebody came into his garage office, you know, where he keeps his motorcycle and all his investigation stuff. I thought somebody came in there and changed all his shit. Because, so like, okay, I know, God, there's so much. I could talk about this movie for hours. It's so insane. He walks into his garage office. His work is all over the wall. He's looking at it. He turns around to face the garage door. And then the film cuts to what's on the garage door. And it's another set of, but it's all occult stuff now. Like the string and everything. It's all
so
a
we
totally
have
different
to
set of stuff.
assume that this is present time and Rutger Hauer was a year ago.
I don't know, maybe. But then here's the thing. When you're looking at it, it's still on a wall. So then I'm like, is he just trapped in a room with no way out? Like, is the garage door gone? I don't understand what the fuck is happening. Anyways, he finds some dude. I think maybe he's the bartender or something. And the guy's getting a blowjob. And he punches this guy so much and so hard that he bleeds out of his ears.
Oh, yeah, he was. Oh, there's
and
a lot of...
they make a comment about it that he's like, I'm making you bleed out of your ears.
No, he's
sure
like,
bleeding out of your ears.
He said, that's not blood. That's fluid coming out of your spinal column or something like that. Fluid coming out of your brain.
Yeah, you're dead. You're fucking dead. You wouldn't be able to have a normal conversation if blood is coming out of your ears, dude.
What does the guy do?
He's totally fine.
He's like, chill out, man. I'll tell you what you need to know.
And it's like he's trying to tell him, and Corbin Nash keeps punching him. It was like an Abbott and Costello routine. He's like, who's on first? Before the guy can answer, he punches him in the face.
Who's on
If this movie was played as a comedy,
second?
I probably would have liked it.
I don't know is on third. Okay, so there is the other thing, too. I went into this movie thinking it was going to be a comedy. I thought it was going to be like an action horror comedy. But there is no comedy in this at all.
They played it so seriously. It's the music and the slow-mo ruin this movie. Like, this movie could have been a good, bad movie. But that slow-mo and the shit music just fucking take everything so fucking seriously. He's punching this guy in the face. He gives him the info he needs. I don't know how he even found this guy. Then they come back to that same spot later. Queenie is there.
Yeah.
He's on a stakeout with his partner. They have an interesting, I wouldn't say interesting, but they have an encounter with Queenie.
They have an encounter, yes.
Queenie, like, teleports behind him to like, whisper in his ear because he's the main character. He can't get hurt. Then Queenie goes and cuts the partner on the face, like a cat scratch. They knock out Corbin Nash, and they steal him, but they leave the cop there on the ground.
Here's where I'm confused.
Yes.
Do they transport him to the Blood Dungeon?
That's a very legitimate question, Dan. It will never be answered.
Because later on in the movie, they seem very angry that they can't find somebody that they had at one point. Okay, so they have him, they transport him to the Blood Dungeon, and then the whole movie turns into that one, Peter Pan.
But not fun.
Bring me Peter Pan. That's what it felt.
Turns into Hook?
Yeah. And they just can't catch him.
So we both agree, Queenie and Pretty Boy have captured Corbin Nash and put him in a blood prison.
Yes.
To fight.
That's what I got.
Okay. Then the rest of the film, those two villains are dicking around. They find out that Corbin Nash is still around. And then they try to go hunt him down, even though they've already caught him. And he's in the blood prison. And they know that.
The only way that this can make sense is if they caught him, put him in the blood prison, And then he turns into a vampire, and then Macy spins extended time turning him to be not a vampire anymore. And then now he's out on the prowl.
And then he's gonna get turned to a vampire again for the climax.
I don't know. Like, I'm assuming that there are 3 different timelines that are edited together in a way that is just, it's nonsense. Like, it's a big cycle that they don't tell you is happening. It's like blood prison, present day, blood prison, present day, present day.
This film is a extended cinematic universe, but instead of having an ensemble cast of characters, all of those characters are one character. And they just use him in every scene, but for different storylines.
That's actually a good analysis, yes.
Inexplicably. Did I say that word right?
No. Yeah, you did.
The partner wakes up. He's got a shitty gash on his face. So the special effects are some of the worst I've ever seen.
Oh, Todd Glass, yes.
Well, okay. And then there's another scene where he's investigating. He finds this warehouse. Warehouse. He wakes up from where he just got knocked out. I don't know why the bad guys didn't kill him immediately. There's blood and change. He hears the women in his head. He's imagining what went on here. But it's also implied that he actually saw it, because when he talks to the bartender later, he goes, I saw the women and the bodies. He never saw anything. So it's like the script doesn't even know what's really happening on camera. It thinks that things you think in your head are stuff that really happened.
It thinks you think it's tricky. It's thinking do rock.
Rocking around and
You think it. Yeah.
So this dipshit, I mean, he investigates and finds all of Corbin Nash's shit, but in the end, Corbin Nash is just like, don't help me because you're a human and I'm a vampire now. And he's like, okay, that's it. He's not in the climax. Doesn't matter. Everything he did was fucking pointless. All the interviews he did, all the investigating of shit we already knew about, fucking pointless. Okay, let's go to the blood sport. He's in the blood sport.
Okay, so he has cellmate number 1 who's just like,
Yeah.
Bro, I already killed a kid. You're going to hate it here. Then cellmate number 2 is this like maniac animal that has paint on his face that just keeps pacing the cell and snarling at him. And then cellmate number 3 is a woman who has the revelation that she's food.
Don't all of them look pretty good for being in a blood prison at first?
Yeah.
They all seem like they're doing okay. It's almost like the film forgot that they were in a blood prison.
It's almost, so you call it a blood sport, and I'm just now imagining it like this is the other scenes from Bloodsport. Mm-hmm. Where like the people who go up against Jean-Claude Van Damme are being held prisoner.
Another clip I would like to play. Actually, you know what? We have to hear it. When Malcolm McDowell is talking to the villains.
Oh, God.
It is one of the worst and best things that happens in it.
Ooh, what's shaking, Pops?
Why don't you just leave me alone?
Because I just don't understand why you must live this lie.
I like the sun on my face. That's enough for me.
Well, I don't miss seeing the sun. They're all a joke. I embrace the darkness. So fuck them and the day. We own this world.
The Lord preserves all that love him. All the wicked he will destroy.
Thy throat is an open coffin. The tongue is used as a weapon to deceive. Blood of asps falls through your lips.
I've accepted my fate.
You abandon the night.
So we have the blood sport, which you think, oh, this is really what the movie is. They want to put Corbin Nash in a low-budget fighting arena where they can just be low budget and have him fight dudes. And it's all a premise around just having him fight dudes. And yet the fights are so boring.
Mm-hmm.
They're so fucking boring, Dan. I was more interested in seeing Queenie and the villains like dick around and be weird. Oh, man. Gosh. And how he escapes... There's a moment where, so he's already had 2 fights. Who cares about the fights? I'm not even going to describe the fights because they're so uninteresting. They call him out, and like this devil voice is talking to him, and he's like, I've been watching you for a long time. I know your lineage, blah, blah, blah. And you think it's the devil. For all intents and purposes, it seems like porpoises, I'm sorry. You think it's the devil. And they set up these sequels where the main villain, Drake, what a great name. Drake! Oh, what a strong villain name. He's with all of his other evil guys. He's in a cloak, and he looks like Voldemort, basically.
Yeah.
The Voldemort guy is like, you're never going to get out of here alive. And as punishment, you're going to die in the street like a dog. Where, okay, everyone else that has been in the film has been killed instantly, and their blood drank. He has 5 or 6 vampires that jump on him and drink his blood. Why don't they rip him apart and kill him? Like, why do they just leave him to be alive?
Because it's Corbin Nash.
Exactly. It's so fucking lame. There's no precedent for them to leave leave anybody in an alley. But they do it just so he can have this dumb experience and then come back at the last section of the film and be like, I'm Corbin Nash, I'm a vampire now. Ooh, I'm going to fight. It is the most convoluted, contrived, lazy writing. I came in this movie I was going to be nice to it.
Well, me too. Like, I wanted to watch this movie because I thought it was going to be comedic and I thought it was going to be interesting, but it just destroyed my expectations. Therefore, I must retaliate. And then, you know what else? What I was thinking? That, like, it's a great film for movies for Sensei. I was also like, you know what? This might be a riff tracks. This might be the one that we do.
Oh, dude, maybe we should.
Because there's so many just parts where it's just like nothing's fucking happening that like we could really pay attention to it. So like, yeah, definitely write that down. It's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So some quick things. Did you notice that Corbin Nash's tattoos were rubbing off during the scenes where he was chained to the bed? Mm-hmm. That is, wow. Wow.
I mean, if Corbin wasn't so damn sweaty all the time.
Okay, the villains are at a nightclub. Mm-hmm. Queenie is giving a blowjob to the ex-boyfriend of the stripper, who the ex-boyfriend has found out that Corbin Nash is in her apartment. In her apartment. Because when she opens the door, he sees him in there, and he's like, is that your new boyfriend? Blah, blah, blah. And he's pissed. And you think like, oh, we're never going to see him again. That was a throwaway thing.
And then, you never see him again because the landlady chases him off, right?
Who we also never see again.
Yeah, but did you not think that the landlady was just Macy dressed up in an old lady makeup?
Could be.
It really felt like that.
So old Queenie McBeanie is giving a blowjay to this dude, and he just starts saying Corbin Nash's name. I might get a clip for this. If only I could insert the entire film as the clip, because I want to force you to listen to it.
I know she's fucking that guy. You think I'm some fucking idiot? Think I'm fucking stupid? Fuck. Oh gosh, you're beautiful. Fucking Nash. What the fuck kind of name is that?
What the fuck did you just say?
It's amazingly bad. Queenie stops blowing him and goes, did you just say Corbin Nash? What? And then they make him take them to Corbin Nash's apartment. No, to Macy's apartment. I'm sorry. I'm already getting confused. You'll see why in a second. They get there. Only Corbin Nash is in the room. The girl is gone, even though she's been watching him this entire film. So you're like, oh, okay. And they go in there. The vampires go up to him and they're like, oh, he's dead. They just assume that Corbin Nash is dead in a bed. When they should have known this whole time, like if they're working with Drake, which it doesn't almost seem like they are. It's confusing. Even though they took him to Drake. I don't know. They're like, oh, we're just going to leave him. It's fine. They don't try to like kill him or whatever. And they discuss in a different room, hey, maybe we should burn his body just to be sure. Why would they even think to burn his body if they think he's just a regular human? The ex-boyfriend goes in there and he's like, I'm going to teach you for having sex with my girlfriend, even though he didn't. And he takes a knife and cuts him vertically from his neck down to his stomach with the knife. Next scene, he's totally fine, by the way. Corbin Nash breaks out of the bonds, kills that dude, and like jumps out a window. And they're like, oh no, Corbin Nash, he escaped. And they're like, God damn it, we got to go stop him. So they leave, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Where do they go? Do you remember?
No.
The next scene?
No.
They go back to the fucking apartment that they were just in.
Is that's why I was so confused.
So either that's Corbin Nash's apartment or the woman's apartment. It's not explained.
It's probably both.
So how is Corbin Nash at his own apartment chained up while this woman is at her own apartment?
I'm saying, like, it's probably the same room.
Yes, there's a multiverse where there's two different realities that they're layered on top of each other. There's two different dimensions, if you will. Each of them are both in the same apartment. And when they step out of the room, this is all made up, by the way. Then they come back and they have the ex-boyfriend, and he's pretending in what was, they tried to be a good scene. He's like pretending to talk with the dead corpse like a puppet, which would have been really cool if anyone else had done it, and if the writing was good, and if the camera angles was good, if anything was good about it. Like, good idea, but terrible execution. And then they don't even like show them breaking into the apartment. It just cuts to them and they've kidnapped the girl, because what are the girls for? They're there to be kidnapped, right? I mean, we all know that women in movies are just to be kidnapped, and that's it. Even though there's already motivation by the lead female character that she's trying to find her brother, her little kid brother who's been missing for a year. Why the vampires would keep this little boy for a year in a room and let him watch cartoons is beyond me, because they kill every other character they ever meet.
Because they want Corbin Nash. It's predestined.
But he's been there for a year. They don't
That's
even
what
know
I'm
Corbin
saying.
Nash is alive.
Exactly. They kidnapped him out of destiny because Malcolm McDowell says, you must kidnap the child, for Corbin may return one day.
Oh, it's so stupid. He never says that, by the way.
You don't know. You fast forwarded through some of that.
You're right, Dan. You have to think about the scenes that they didn't film.
Yes.
Because there's so many scenes that explain everything. They just didn't film it. So it's all implied filming and implied scenes.
Yes.
No, I totally understand. And in that respect, the film is actually pretty amazing.
Yes.
Because there's all those things that you didn't see.
Think
that you
about
could just
all
imagine.
the other terrible movies that
Yeah.
are, fixed by this problem. Just thinking about what's implied. And
Yeah, just think
film.
about a better film and apply it to this film, and this film becomes better. It's pretty flawless logic.
Yes.
They show the villains taking her to a car and driving away, and where's Corbin Nash?
Nowhere.
He's on a roof of another building now.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
How he got there?
Nowhere.
I don't know. Did he run upstairs? Because he doesn't have vampire powers, really.
He has Wolf's Bane.
And then in what is maybe the only cool scene in the film, where he takes his baseball bat from his dad and he turns it into a stake. So now he has a baseball bat stake for killing vampires, because Malcolm McDowell tells him how to kill vampires.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. I don't know. But then he just fights regular people. They're not even vampires.
Corbin Nash takes a baseball bat, turns it into a steak, serves a family of 4.
He's like, this tastes like sawdust. He's like, eat it, you fucking kid. I'm Corbin Nash. Look at my chest. My chest don't lie. And now they do these abs. And he plays dueling banjos on each one of his ab sections. It's pretty awesome.
I remember that scene. It was great.
He fights a bunch of random dudes. None of them die like vampires. Because, like, how do you think normally when a vampire gets stabbed, they usually, like, disintegrate or something? And at first I'm like, okay, maybe these vampires don't do that. But when Queenie dies, and of course, because Queenie is a main character villain.
Yes.
Queenie gets a bunch of dialogue where he's like, you have to avenge me. You have to avenge me. And then he starts to shrivel up, right? So you're like, why does that villain shrivel up?
Because he's a true vampire.
But that's not true either, because the main vampire, who's Vince.
Oh, wait a
Pretty
minute.
Boy,
Because it's Corey Feldman.
maybe that's his true form. He's the one who turned Corey Feldman into a vampire. And there's even a weird scene where they're like, how old am I? He's like 32. He's like, how old am I really? And he's like 73. Why even have that scene if you're not going to give the age like a long age? Like, why? It's not cool to be 73. It'd be cool if you're like 200.
Yeah.
They have the big anti-climax where like vampires are attacking his girlfriend. He saves them. He kills Corey Feldman. And then my favorite part of the film, Pretty Boy is like standing, he's listening to Corey Feldman say like, you have to avenge me, you have to kill him. And then he's getting really mad. He's like, his face is shaking. He's getting so mad. Corbin Nash just comes up and stabs him. They don't even have a big climactic fight. There's no fight at the end. Because you think Vince is going to fight Nash.
Yeah.
In an epic battle, because this is what the movie's been building up to. He's going to, fight the villain.
Yeah.
Nope. Just stabs him in the back.
Yeah. Isn't it while like he's being held? Like while he's holding Corey Feldman?
they're having that moment, because there's moments in film, I've talked about this before, where the film stops so that two characters can have the I'm dying moment, let's talk, so it's because it's dramatic. What I love about this movie, I don't even know if they did it on purpose, but the main character interrupts that scene to kill the other character. And I think that was, I was going to say genius, but there's no way they ever thought about how meta and crazy awesome this was. There's no way. I think it was just they ran out of time. They're like, we can't film anymore.
That's exactly
so we had
what
to
it
stop.
is.
And then they saved the little kid. Corbin Nash is now a motorcycle vigilante that fights vampires. And then there's a big monologue at the end by fucking Malcolm McDowell about God and the end times or some
And then he
boring
takes off
shit.
his glasses to reveal that his eyes are not like human eyes.
Oh no, so scary. I never got that he was the devil though. I thought he was just another vampire or an angel at the very least.
Yeah, that's what Lucifer was, an angel before he was the
Yeah.
devil. So that's what I was
true.
getting.
That's true, I guess. Oh, this movie's exhausted me. I thought it would be more fun to talk about this film, Dan, and I really was just like upset.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, exactly.
What are your final thoughts on this film?
It may be worth a revisit simply for like a movies for like I don't know. I would not be able to fucking watch this movie again. It's so bad.
It's really bad. I don't recommend anyone watch it. Maybe if a Riff Tracks ever comes out, I would say watch it with Riff Tracks. It would be really fun. This is definitely a good candidate to do Riff Tracks though, for sure.
It's just,
but that would also mean I'd have to watch it again.
Exactly. And again.
So
and
Dan,
again
you have
and
a film
again.
for us to assign.
Yes. I am going to give you a choice between 3. I was going to give you a 4th choice, but that one's so bad, and I don't want another bad movie.
Yeah, we can't do it. We can't do it.
So you have the choice between a Korean film that's kind of on the longer side. You can do a newer. They're all newer films. A film about a blind piano player who witnesses a murder, or a documentary about Scientology.
Let's do Piano Murder.
Okay, Piano Murder it is. So you have selected In Darkness.
Another dark movie.
I know. God, dark is such a popular word. So a blind pianist fears for her life after the suspicious death of her neighbor, the daughter of a businessman accused of war crimes. So she hears it, and I guess she is going to be hunted because she heard it.
Hey, it's the lady from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I guess she was in Hunger Games too.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Interesting. Yep, never heard of this movie.
It's brand new, so hopefully it's going to be good.
I mean, anything is a step up from what we just watched.
True.
Oh my god. Alright, well, I'm fucking exhausted.
Find us at Twitter at oldboys_podcast, Instagram at oldboyspodcast, email us at oldboyspodcast@gmail.com, and Dan, as always, you have the final word. Man, I don't know. Third base. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.